Hey Crafty fam, it's Alex Vanover and welcome back to my craft room. If you are brand new here, then welcome. I am so glad that you're here. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make a vinyl decal using craft vinyl and your Cricut. And if you have never made a vinyl decal before or even a ceramic coffee cup, then this is the perfect tutorial for you, so keep watching. So let's get into it. So the first step to making your very first decal using craft vinyl is to choose the file that you're going to use for that project. And so I am going to be linking in the description of this video this free file. By the time you watch this video, it's possible that this may not be free anymore, but since it's free now, I wanted to do something that wouldn't cost you guys anything. But this is a really simple decal. You'll notice that the letters are fairly thick, and we're not going to make this super small, so it should be really easy to weed. Be careful when you get into adhesive vinyl because you don't want to be doing things that have like a bunch of crazy flourishes and swirls all around them and really thin pieces, because as a beginner that can make it really difficult. So anyway, I'm going to link this in the description of this video, and I highly recommend that you start here because I'm going to show you from the very beginning of the process. So, and this is from designbundles.net under their free section, so you can also find it there if for some reason you can't find that link. But you're going to scroll down on this page and click download free now, and it's going to start automatically downloading into your downloads. And then as soon as it's ready, you can open it up, and almost all files when you download them are going to be zipped. So what you're going to need to do is right click and select extract all, and then browse to find a location that you need to save your files. So the way that I do this is on my desktop. I have a file called craft files, and then I have them sorted by different things, but I go into my SVG folder, and then I create a new folder each time that I download something. So I just right click and select new and then folder, and I start with the location where I downloaded it. So for me, that's Design Bundles or DB, and then I'll just put cats and coffee, and that will tell me enough about the file that that's good enough for me. So then we will double click this folder and select folder, and then extract. So that will unzip the file for you and get you here. And honestly, if you want to, you can go ahead and delete this Mac OS X file because you're never really going to need it. Everything you need is inside this folder. So then we're going to jump into Cricut Design Space, and I'm going to show you how to upload this file into Cricut Design Space. So on your left-hand toolbar, you're going to go to Upload, and then Upload Image, and then Browse. Then you're going to go back to the location of wherever you saved your video. So I went to Desktop, Craft Files, SVGs, and then DB, Cats and Coffee. Then we're going to open up this folder, and you're going to want to choose the file that looks like it has the little Internet Explorer thing next to it. And when you hover your mouse over top of it, it should say SVG document. Design Space always prefers SVG files if you can find them. A lot of these downloads will include like JPEGs and PNGs as well, but like I said, SVGs are just the best choice if you can get them. So then you're going to click open, and it's going to come in just like this. So the image name will just be whatever the file name was, but I also recommend that you do tags so that if you search within your images, you can always find it. So I'm going to do cats, and then I'm also going to do coffee, so that if I ever search for either of those things, this will come up. So then we're going to click save. And then you're going to click this item and have it like highlight all the way around the box green. That's how you know you've selected it. And then you're going to click insert images. Then when you put it into Cricut Design Space, you can see that it is a bunch of different layers, which is good because this is an SVG file. So then I'm going to click attach so that everything stays together, and it's also going to cut exactly where I want it. Then I'm going to go and I'm going to make my width about 3 inches because I'm going to be putting this on a coffee mug. So I would recommend that you choose something super easy, and a coffee mug is a great place to start. You can either use a coffee mug that you already have, even just to practice. I mean, you could even peel it off when you're done if you wanted to, but you could also go to Dollar Tree and just get mugs that are $1 a piece. That's what I like to do for new projects and stuff, and that's what I highly recommend you guys do so that it's super easy. You'll also notice that this design is all one color, so we're going to start with something super easy like this. Don't be really difficult with yourself and start with a bunch of stuff that, like I said, has a bunch of fine pieces, multiple colors, all that kind of stuff. Just get the hang of working with vinyl before you get yourself into doing anything too complicated. So then you're gonna click Make It. And you want everything to look normal on your mat. So everything looks together, everything is spelled correctly. You'll also know if you forget to attach because all your pieces will be all over the mat. So if it looks like that, just go back, click cancel, and then make sure that you select your image and click attach again. And that makes it super easy. So once you have the file exactly the way that you want it, you can click continue. And then once your machine connects, you can choose the cut setting that you're going to use on your Cricut. So I'm going to be using StarCraft HD vinyl because that is my absolute favorite permanent vinyl. I highly, highly recommend it. And I'm just going to use the vinyl setting with that. I recommend starting with like a permanent or removable vinyl if you're brand new to vinyl, just so you can get the feel of it before you start getting into things like holographic vinyl and opal vinyl and all the really pretty things that are a little more difficult to work with. So now that we're all finished here, let's jump over to my Cricut machine and I'll show you guys how to load your mat and cut your vinyl. So the first step to cutting out your first decal is to remove the shiny carrier sheet thing from your mat so that you can get to the sticky side. Make sure that you set this aside in a place where it's not going to get dirty. Be careful not to put it on the ground because it's very, very slippery, and if you step on it, you can trip. So next you want to apply your vinyl. So like I said, I'm using StarCraft HD, which I love so very much, especially because it's permanent vinyl, but it also comes in a matte finish, which is kind of rare to find, and I am obsessed with this stuff, you guys. So you want to make sure to line it up in the upper left-hand corner of your mat. So I'm going to start by lining that area up. And then I'll lay out the rest of the vinyl. And if you want to, you can actually cut out just enough to lay down on your mat. But if you're new to this and you're worried that you're going to end up cutting off where you cut, just go ahead and lay the whole sheet of vinyl on the mat. That just makes it a little bit easier. So once it's all smoothed down, then you're ready to load it into your Cricut. So next you can open up your machine. And you'll see that this arrow button is flashing. So what you need to do is take your mat and put it through these little white slots on the sides and give it a little bit of pressure up against the roll bar here. And then you're going to press that arrow button and allow the mat to go into the machine. When it's ready to cut, this C button will flash. So you'll just press that you'll just press that button and let it cut. Once your design is all finished cutting, you can press the flashing arrow button and remove your mat. Next, it's time to remove this decal from all the rest of the vinyl and weed out your design. When you're ready to remove the vinyl from your mat, I recommend that you flip the mat over and actually peel the mat away from the vinyl. That way you don't get it to curl up really bad, especially if your mat is new and really sticky. Then you can add the clear carrier sheet back onto your mat so that it doesn't get dirty. The longer that you can keep your mat clean, the longer that it can hold vinyl and HTV really easily before you have to clean it. So set that aside and you can cut out the area that the decal is on your sheet. That way you don't waste a bunch of extra vinyl. Next, it's time to weed away the excess vinyl around your design so that you can apply it to your mug. So I'm going to be using a pen weeding tool. That's my weeding tool of choice. I got it from 143vinyl.com, so I'll be sure to link that down for you guys in the description, but you can use whatever you have. If all you have is a Cricut weeding hook, that's perfectly fine as well. But what I really like about the pen is that it actually has a stainless steel needle in the end of the pen. So it looks like a pen, but it actually has the perfect weeding tool in the end of it. It's a lot more comfortable for me to hold this while I weed, especially big projects, than it is for the angle of the weeding hook. Just tends to hurt my wrist when I'm doing a lot of weeding. I also like to have stab and grab tweezers from 143vinyl.com handy as well, because they're great in case anything gets tangled up together. So if you are using a pin pen, then I would recommend using the correct method for the pin pen, because that makes it a lot easier. Instead of actually kind of stabbing and dragging the vinyl away, you want to sort of treat it like a scoop. So you just want to lightly grab the vinyl with your stainless steel tip needle and just kind of scoop it away so that you're not putting quite so much pressure on it. And you do want to come at it at an angle instead of coming straight down. So let me show you guys what I mean. So I usually like to start in the corner like this, and I just lightly get the vinyl started. But of course, you also want to pay attention as you peel the vinyl away that nothing is getting stuck and coming off of the backing that's not supposed to. So go nice and slow when you peel this off. This area right here has a bunch of vinyl attached to it. Can be a little bit of a pain. There we go. And I also forgot to show you guys one of my favorite weeding accessories, which is this iVine weeding berry. I'll be sure to link this for you guys in the description. It's from Amazon. I really like how big it is and how it can hold tons of vinyl, and it's just really easy for me to clean off my pin pen. Then I'm just going to use that same scooping motion to get the centers of my letters that are still attached to my decal. Then once everything is weeded away, it's time to add your transfer tape. I really love using clear medium tack transfer tape from 143 Vinyl. There are tons of transfer tape options out there, so this is certainly not the only option, but it's the one that I found that I love the best. So I'll be sure to link this for you guys in the description as well. One thing that you need to know about transfer tape that's a little bit different from what you would think it might be is that you want to use the least tacky transfer tape that you can possibly find, because all you needed to do is pick that vinyl up and stick it onto your surface. The tackier that your transfer tape is, the harder it is to actually release the vinyl from the transfer tape and get it onto your design. So if you're having trouble with your transfer tape, it could be the problem is that your transfer tape is actually too tacky. So I'm just gonna pull out a little piece of my transfer tape, and I like to take my transfer tape or take my vinyl decal to my transfer tape. This stuff is kind of unique because it doesn't have a backing, but I actually really like that about it, because then I don't end up with so much waste. And if you do need a backing, you can actually just use the backing of the vinyl. If you're going to be storing the transfer tape on the decal, there's no need for a second backing on the transfer tape. Then I'm going to trim away the little piece that I'm using, and I'll just roll the next up for the next time. So next you're gonna grab a squeegee and you're gonna do what's called burnishing your decal. And all that really means is to rub the squeegee onto your decal to get the transfer tape stuck to the vinyl, just like this. You want to use kind of medium pressure. You don't want to go really, really hard on it or anything like that, because again, that can actually activate the adhesive if you rub it too hard, because adhesive vinyl is actually pressure sensitive. So that really, really intense rubbing can activate that adhesive and make it stick to the backing. So a light pass with the squeegee is really all that you need. Next, we're gonna set our decal aside, and then we're gonna clean the surface of our mug to make sure that it is clean and prepped for vinyl. So I'm just gonna be using a coffee cup that I bought at Dollar Tree, and what you wanna do actually before you apply your decal is clean it using rubbing alcohol, and you can either use a cotton ball or a coffee filter. The reason that coffee filters are useful in this situation is because they don't leave any lint residue behind. Sometimes cotton balls can leave little pieces on the surface of the mug, and that can make it difficult to get the vinyl to stick. So I like to use one coffee filter for the actual alcohol part, and then I use a second coffee filter to dry it. So I just take my coffee filter and kind of fold it into quarters like this, and then add a little bit of rubbing alcohol. And this is just to get rid of any dirt or dust or anything from the mug when it sat in the store, or if you've used it before and this is actually from your kitchen, this will get rid of any of the residue from the dish soap or anything. Because the cleaner the surface is, the better that the vinyl can stick. So once you've got rid of any residue or anything, you can come in with that second coffee filter and dry it off. So if you're using a round object like this, like a coffee mug, you want to make sure to secure it well. So one way that you can do this is actually utilize squeegees that have these two lines here in the center that will actually help hold your coffee cup still. So I'm going to prop my coffee mug up like this, and I'm going to try to get my handle at 90 degrees so that it's about centered on my coffee cup. Next, you're just gonna flip your decal over and remove the backing from the vinyl and transfer tape. Nice and slow, and make sure that no little pieces try to come off. See, that little piece needs a little bit more burnishing because it's stuck on the backing. So I'm just gonna have to borrow my squeegee real quick. And then we'll set the cup back up here. And the handle may fall, that's okay. I'll hold it up with my fingers when I apply the decal. All right. So let me talk about the method that I use when I go to actually place decals on things like this. I like to hold my decal with one finger on each side, and I actually hold it in a shape like this, like a horseshoe. And I actually go straight for the center where I want the decal to be centered. And then I let one side down and then the other. And I have found that that is the best way to get rid of the most wrinkles and things like that. It just works the best for me. But you want to make sure you go nice and slow and don't get in a rush. The other thing that you need to know about adhesive vinyl is that as you get it closer to the surface, oftentimes static electricity will actually kind of grab your vinyl and transfer tape. So you want to make sure that you don't get it too close to the surface when you're lining it up, because it can actually kind of almost like suck your vinyl down and get it stuck before you're ready to commit to that spot. So just keep that in mind when you're utilizing vinyl and transfer tape. So I'm going to kind of reposition my mug, and I'm going to kind of hold on to this mug with my pinky so that I can keep the handle upright. Otherwise, it's going to end up kind of halfway around the mug. So now I'm just going to center it the best I can. I'll let down the right side and then the left. And then after I've got everything kind of pushed down with my fingers, I'll take my squeegee again and I will burnish all the way over my decal like this. Especially these areas at the bottom that have a little bit of wrinkle in their transfer tape can be a little bit tricky. And then when you're ready, you can peel off the transfer tape. A tip for peeling off transfer tape well is that you actually want to peel it back at 180 degrees, just like this. If you actually take it and kind of pull it off like that, you can put some stress on the vinyl and actually cause wrinkling and problems with your vinyl. So you want to take it back at 180 degrees and peel it straight back like this. And again, make sure none of your little pieces are coming off on your transfer tape. And there you have it, a perfect, super fun little mug made with craft vinyl. Make sure that before you wash it or utilize this mug, it's best to let vinyl cure on its own. And all you have to do to cure the vinyl is to just let it sit without touching it for about 24 to 48 hours. That gives a chance for the adhesive to really cure onto the surface and stay permanently. And then anytime that you use vinyl on mugs like this, they're gonna be hand wash only. So this is no longer dishwasher safe after you do this. But if you hand wash it and take great care of it, honestly, I have had mugs that have lasted for 4+ years with vinyl on them. So don't be concerned about the quality of them because they'll last a really long. If you've made it this far in the video, then I would love to connect with you on social media and get to know you. So please be sure to find me at DIY Alex Vanover on pretty much all major social platforms, but I'll also put direct links down in the description in case you want to find me super easily. And if you make anything using my tutorials, whether it's a craft vinyl decal or anything at all, if you happen to share it on Instagram, use the hashtag DIYAlex because I love to see what you guys are making and learning about. And if you haven't already, please click right here to subscribe to the DIY Alex YouTube channel. Scroll down just a little bit and ring the bell right next to subscribe so that you never miss when I upload a new video, Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you consider yourself a Cricut beginner, then I really think you should check out the Cricut for Beginners playlist right here. That is a really long playlist of several videos that I've made for Cricut beginners just like you, so you can learn all the skills that you need to master your Cricut in no time. So I hope we can craft again soon.